Hey everyone, Garbage here. Every successful multiplayer game has a problem that isn't really a problem, but it does create some challenges. So what's up with that? When a multiplayer game is brand new, as in no one has ever played it before, it's not a sequel, everyone playing the game when it is new sucks. Even really seasoned players of other games that might be similar are not going to be playing at their best because this new game is a unique game. And there are things that you have to learn in this game that you don't have to learn in other games. But as the game evolves, people begin to learn how to play the game. They learn the tips and tricks, and a meta begins to form. And over time, the average skill level of the entire player base begins to rise, which causes a problem. In order for any multiplayer game to survive long term, it needs a constant supply of new players coming into the game in order to replace the older players that leave. But oftentimes in really well established games, the skill gap between the average player and a complete noob is so great that it causes them to quit out of frustration before they get invested in the game because they're constantly getting smacked by just your average player. If you're just getting into a really well-established game like CSGO or Rainbow Six Siege or even League of Legends, it can be really difficult for a new player to get into these games because there's just so much that you need to learn. There's just a massive gap between what you know and what the average player knows. That huge skill gap that you're going to have to somehow cross in order to become competitive in one of these kinds of games might feel so large that it's not even worth trying to get there. And obviously that's bad for the health of the game. So how do we fix this problem? Well, the obvious answer is to create a tutorial. But actually, I don't think tutorials are really all that effective. Oftentimes, tutorials, all they do is give you the absolute bare minimum just to function in the game. They don't teach you how to properly play the game given the current meta and with everything that everyone has learned over the years. Or in other games, the tutorial was made really early on in the game's life and it no longer even accurately reflects the current state of the game. Another potential solution that I like a little bit better is using bots. For example, in games like Paladins, your very first few matches you're playing against AIs that are pretty unintelligent rather than actual human players. And the reason why this is done is not necessarily to teach you how to play the game properly, but rather it functions to give you that initial boost of confidence because you feel like an absolute god just completely crushing these AIs so that you can become invested in the game so that you want to continue playing. And it's only after you become invested that the game starts putting you up against actual human players and then proceed to crush your soul. Another potential solution is what's supposed to be coming with the upcoming Halo Infinite. There's an Academy mode, which is supposed to help new players get familiar with the various mechanics and things that people have come to learn about playing Halo and what it means to be a Halo player. And to me, this just sounds like a really advanced tutorial, but who knows, maybe it's actually a very effective way to make new players competitive with the rest of the player base. And here's the thing, this quote-unquote problem of the player base getting better and better over the years is actually a very good problem to have because it forces the developers of the game to continue to level up their game alongside its players or risk losing them to newer games that provide more of a challenge. The last thing you want in your game is for players to feel like they've beaten your game and that there's nothing left to learn. And so if you intend to make a successful multiplayer game, this is something that you're going to have to think about as well. It's not just how are you going to get people to play your game, but it's also about how are you going to get your players to stick around for a very long time, as well as how do you get new players into your game without getting frustrated. So I'm curious, what do you think is the most effective way to get new players into a well-established game? And is there a limit before it starts to become too hand-holdy? Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, bell for more gaming related content. I also stream on this channel on a semi-regular basis. Links to my Discord and Twitter down below. And as always, have a nice day.